Good morning to each and everyone. We are the Group 5 and we are reporting the Baroque and Rococo art. Moving on, let's first discuss the brief history of Baroque art. In 1527 Europe, religious dominance had the power to direct and inform the content and climate of society's artistic output. At that time, a backlash against the conservative Protestant Reformation was compelled by the Catholic Church to re-establish its importance and grandeur within society. The origin of the term Baroque is a bit ambiguous. Many scholars thought it was derived from the Portuguese Barroco, which means an imperfect or irregular shaped pearl. And some, like the philosopher Jean, thought it was the Italian Barocco, an obstacle in formal logic in the medieval period. Now, let's focus on its characteristics. Number 1, real or implied movement. As you can see, the Martyrdom of Saint Matthew by Italian master Michelangelo Merisi di Caravaggio in 1660 depicts the realism of Christian art during the Baroque period. Realism movement art style refers to representation of subject matter truthfully without artificiality and avoiding speculative fiction and supernatural. Second, an attempt to represent infinity. Embarkation of the Queen of Sheba by Claude Lorraine presents an imagined and idealized city drenched with a feeling of calm, grandeur, enhanced by the work's poetic emphasis upon light. The concept of infinity as it represents something that is unlimited, endless, and without bound. It references the biblical story of the Queen of Sheba's visit to King Solomon in Jerusalem, yet focuses primarily on the landscape with the sun as its rays vertically intersecting the canvas. Third, an emphasis on light and its effects. The Penitent Magdalene by George de la Tour in 1640 depicts innovatively applying the Baroque style, emphasis on light and its effects, with the candle as a source of light and shadow plays. His paintings primarily focus on religious subjects. He innovatively explored nocturnal light, employing geometric compositions and simplified forms to convey a calm and thoughtful spirituality. A number of techniques were introduced or further developed by Baroque artists to accomplish these effects, including quadro riportato, a fresco that incorporated the illusion of being composed of a series of framed paintings. Second, quadrature or ceiling painting and trope-l'oeil techniques. This allowed of a blurring of the boundaries between painting, sculpture, and architecture that was signature to the movement. Lastly, the chiaroscuro is a treatment of light and dark in an artwork helped to create dramatic tension was a key component in Baroque artwork. So examples of Baroque art painting are the following. First is the Madonna with a long neck. Second is the Adoration of the Shepherds. Third is the Girl with a Pearl Earring. And lastly, the Supper at Emmaus.
Now we move on to the analysis of the ecstasy of Saint Teresa. So this was sculpted by Gian Lorenzo Bernini by the order of Cardinal Federico Cornaro for his personal chapel now known as the Church of Santa Maria della Vittoria. So, Saint Teresa, born Teresa Ali Fatim Correlia Sanchez di Cepeda y Ahumada, was from Avila, Spain. She is the patron of headache sufferers and Spanish Catholic writers. She was canonized on March 12, 1622 in Rome by Pope Gregory XV. The spiritual aspects of Catholic faith conveyed in the work are as follows. Visions. The sculpture is Bernini's means to encapsulate Saint Teresa's spiritual visions into the physical. Portrayed in the screen is a passage from one of her writings that this art portrays. So, as a saint, Saint Teresa was blessed to have visions of God and the above, and so Bernini tried to translate that experience into the physical through his sculpture. Next is religious ecstasy. To represent the true intensity of her experience, Bernini shows her swooning in near erotic rapture, with eyes closed and mouth open, and both visible limbs hanging limp. She is atop a cloud, implying her ascent to the heavens, with beams of gold light flowing down on her. The ruffled, heavy drapery of her clothes also add to the movement and the drama of the scene, and the texture of the fabric contrasts with the purity of her face. Lastly, love for God. Teresa communicates her passionate love for God in a sensual passion, a technique that is now known as bridal spirituality. Bernini employs imagery that suggests sensual pleasure, but only in order to convey the tangible nature of Teresa's experience, which is a manifestation of her love for God and her yearning to be in spiritual union with Him. So what makes this Baroque? First, the sculpture depicts a strong religious theme, one set in the peak or most dramatic point in Saint Teresa's life. Second, it attempts to capture dynamic movement of figures. This is evidenced in the grandeur of the piece, the sensuous richness and drama of the portrayed scene, dynamism and movement, like the wrinkles of Saint Teresa's gown swirling around her and leading to an illusion of motion, and tension and emotional exuberance in her near-erotic expressions of spiritual pleasure.
Rococo art. Rococo art is the most significant art movement in France in the first half of the 18th century. The term Rococo comes from the French word shell, because the scallop shell motif is common in Rococo interior decoration. Whereas Rococo interior decoration is spread to other countries such as Germany, the painting style called Rococo is predominantly French. Rococo is an art style which places emphasis on portraying the carefree life of the aristocracy, rather than on grand heroes or pious martyrs. Love and romance were considered to be better subjects for art than historical or religious subjects. Characteristics. First, aristocracy. Rococo art, sometimes called a feminized version of Baroque style, is associated with aristocracy. Second, gorgeous clothing. The paintings feature beautiful aristocrats in gorgeous clothing. Next, tall and slender and elegant and graceful. The figures present in the paintings are tall and slender. They are also elegant and graceful. Next, peaceful natural setting with feathery trees and sprays of foliage. Often, the paintings depict a peaceful natural setting with feathery trees and sprays of foliage. These are spring or summer settings without a hint of rain or any natural event to disturb the happiness of the actors in the setting. Next, gentle colors or pastel. The colors present in the painting are gentle, and sometimes pink roses appear in a natural profusion. Lastly is happy. Rococo paintings are usually happy paintings, as if the people in them had not had a care in the world. Examples are Jean-Antoine Watteau's paintings. He was a French painter who revitalized the waning Baroque style, shifting it to the less severe, more naturalistic, less formally classical Rococo. First, the Embarkation of Cetera in 1717. One of the most famous examples of Rococo art. This painting depicts a party of aristocrats returning from the mythical island of Cetera. Next is Mezzotint in 1718. Watteau is also interested in the psychology of love. In his painting Mezzotint, presumably, the male in this painting is courting a woman, but the statue in the background, a woman turning away, may indicate that his advances have been rejected. This work does have a sadder theme, but being rejected in love hardly has the seriousness of some of religious or political themes compared to the art in the Baroque period. Next Rococo artist is Jean-Honoré Fragonard. His painting The Swing depicts aristocrats at play and flirting. The hidden man on the left gets a look at his loved one's petticoat as her shoe goes flying off. Another work of his is The Meeting. This painting is the first in a series called Progress of Love. Here, a romantic suitor jumps over a wall while his lover seems surprised. It has a notable elegant outdoor park with roses and feathery trees. All of the examples shown check all the boxes on the characteristics of Rococo art.
Finally, as Baroque and Rococo are both set after the Renaissance period, here are some similarities and differences between the two art styles. Thank you for listening.